ada, bebatasti.
For every vaccine given, that's a potential life saved.
Okay, there we go. You saw elements of the full-length show. And actually, I'm glad I'm here and sharing this because I can give you a sampling. You see all these different versions. We do have the full-length show with Spanish subtitles, if that's of interest to you. And also, I want to show you just some samples here. Okay, so we have these short versions, and these are all available to you, and I'll show you how to get them in just a second. I'm going to go to a couple of these just to show you some pieces that you didn't necessarily see. Let's see here, misleading statistics. So here's one on the flu as an example. These are the very, very short versions here. And let me just show this to you. These are just what we call lift outs from the full.
Every year, there's about 120 million Americans that get a flu vaccine. If you follow 120 million Americans for several weeks after a flu vaccine, things are going to happen. Those 120 million Americans will get heart attacks. They might be diagnosed with cancer. They may get bitten by a shark or struck by lightning. Most of the time, that has nothing to do with the vaccine. It's merely a coincidence. The rate of those adverse effects are often just the same, if not higher, in people who didn't get the vaccine.
So you can see these very short hits are targeted to various people. Everybody has their own audiences. In your own community, you have different people who are hesitant for different reasons. And so these sort of give you the options, and you can see the names here, and I'll show you a little bit more of that. I love this one, actually. I think this is just fabulous. And then I'll show you one more, and then we'll take some questions.
Nothing's perfect in life, and in healthcare the same. But it becomes about, odds. It becomes about, what's most likely to help you, weighing risks and benefits. And, the truth is, when we're talking about vaccines, it's not close. It's not even close.
I really like that one. I want to show you another, since you all work in the field of pharmacy. Let me find, it's back in here. There we go. These are also available. Okay. Here's one of my favorites that I think you'll enjoy.
So we have many, many vaccines because we have many, many diseases. And so as we develop new technology, we see new vaccines. So we have now vaccines against human papillomavirus, which is the first cancer vaccine.
Vaccines protect you. They are
Effective and
safe. They protect against
hepatitis A,
flu,
polio, rabies,
measles, mumps, rubella,
rotavirus,
smallpox, chickenpox,
Yellow fever,
diphtheria, tetanus,
hepatitis B,
human papillomavirus,
whooping cough,
pneumococcal disease,
meningococcal disease.
shingles.
Vaccines save millions of lives.
millions of lives a year.
So you can see we have a whole bunch of different videos that you can use. Let me just jump out of this. I put up into the chat for everyone our website. And in the website, there is a list of all these lift outs that we have, these small short videos. There is also, and I'm going to update that today actually in the website, there is also every one of those short videos that you can see. Because you all were an underwriter, Susie and your team have those either via Dropbox if you want to download the file itself. It's a little more convoluted, but easy to do. Or I just sent out, and Susie, you should have this by now, a list of all those lift outs, who is in the lift out, what the lift out covers, and a YouTube link so that you can just, the YouTube is very easy and most people are very familiar with that. You can embed that on your own website. You can download it and use it in any manner you want. And I'll show you what that list looks like here very quickly. Where is it? There it is. Boom. So this is what it looks like. There's the YouTube link. So, and actually you heard this in the show, absence is its effectiveness. Carissa Culbreth talks about we don't see the diseases anymore, and that proves that they're effective, like polio and measles and all these things. You saw that little clip. That's a little 63-second clip. You can see all the list of them here. Flu vaccine falsehoods, forgotten lessons. That's from the very beginning of the show that you saw. The human lifespan being a gift of science. All these different things that are pulled out from the documentary, and then the links are listed next to them there. The bottom links are this group is a little bit longer, like when they talk about the history of smallpox vaccine and how that works, and you saw that section. It's about 2 minutes 50 seconds long, but they're all individual pieces, which is kind of hopefully is going to be helpful to you. And also we have a link now because our contract with PBS, they have it streaming now. And because PBS has already started broadcasting in a number of different markets around the country, you can send out the streaming link to everyone and they can see it anywhere, any place, anytime through the PBS link. It's a direct link. They don't have to download anything. It's really simple. So what questions do you have? I can yammer for days. You don't want that. I have a question for you. Will these elements be useful for your communities, your clients, your people who you see on a daily basis? Are there pieces in this that you think will be effective? And can you send them out to people as you're responding to them or as you're dealing with them? Or is it something you could use in pharmacies themselves? What do you think?
We have a lot of non-vocal people on today.
Linda, I'm going to pick on you. Is this usable? Are these elements going to be helpful?
I think they will be.
In your community, what's the big pushback?
I think it's just hesitancy about knowing for sure about the vaccine.
And where are you located? Just so
I'm in Bartlett, Tennessee. I'm at the ACA office.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'm not a pharmacist. I'm just a person.
That's quite all right.
Who I could say was a little hesitant about getting the vaccine.
That's exactly right. I was hesitant, but I did get it.
Yes.
And I didn't die, so.
Good for you. Paul, you were going to say something.
Well, the issue, I think, from the staff's point of view is we need to categorize what's available in a short way so that people can pick and choose and maybe even some coaching about this is how you might use it. I mean, really sort of give them a toolkit for the individual topics that you've raised. Also to look at, as I recall, you have an hour program, a half-hour program, and multiple 15-minute programs besides the clips that are probably a minute or so in length. So I think in order to move this along, this is what we need to do. I've talked to two people locally, one, my Rotary Club, they would be interested in it, probably for a half an hour type of program, and two, a clinic, a Rotary clinic, and they're the ones that were interested in Spanish version of the activity. So those are two things that I have a personal interest in, Chris, in order to move this along.
And for those
I
who
live in a
don't,
county and specifically in a city that had hesitancy toward whooping cough, and we have one of the highest unvaccinated whooping cough counties in California. And so there's a lot of work to do within that particular population to get them to overcome whatever fears, anti-vaccine fears that they may have.
Good. For those who don't know, and Rotary Club of Albuquerque, I speak there every year because I'm in Albuquerque, and they bring me in to talk about whatever show I'm working on. And when they heard about this, they said, let us help, because our whole goal, the polio work that Rotary has done all over the world, has been truly inspirational and amazing. My father was very involved in that. And so it makes complete sense that Rotary's been really involved. So taking this to service clubs would be a great way to go. And I apologize for not showing the 30-minute version. The 30-minute version cuts out, like that beginning measles story. That's a fairly long story. It's about a 5.5-minute story. That is pulled out. I think there's several other major stories along the way that we pull out of the 30-minute version. It's sort of more just the facts, but you can take a look at that. And regarding those short ones, hopefully, and then Julie, it looks like you wanted to say something. I just want to show you this again, the lift outs. And this is, so what we tried to do with these, Paul, was if you have hesitant clients or people you're dealing with, to ideally, if you all can watch the whole show, you'll know what exactly these things are. But then we do like health disparities. There's a whole thing on health disparities and distrust. It's sort of social determinants of health stuff. So this is why health disparities may affect populations, and that's actually, that doesn't make sense, does it? It's why health disparities affect many populations and their vaccine confidence, basically. What a herd immunity is, if people don't understand what that is. What's historical trauma and how that affects it. And then this Hope Pharmacy story is a great story about this woman that may or may not be applicable for what you're using. But hopefully these are explained enough within this realm. If you're dealing with the Native American population, Dr. Melvina McCabe is Dene. She's Navajo. She's a medical doctor, very well respected, and she's fabulous. And we also have several other people from Native American tribes that are in this section. And then the Native American Trust here, you can see these people. So hopefully just by reading through this list, you'll be able to say, oh, this may fit here. Hopefully that's helpful. Julie, did you want to say something? She left. She knew I was going to pick on her and she got scared.
Chris, well, a suggestion, I guess, would be, I know you've got the, the little clips that you showed us. I guess that could be used on a web page or, posted somewhere. People in pharmacies may run healthcare clips or in doctor's offices, and that would be a perfect short thing. But the 30-minute video isn't that, just to make sure people understand, that's designed for like service clubs, chambers of commerce, churches, PTAs, all of those kinds of things. I think that's what our people need help understanding is, we've got this stuff, and what's the best way to utilize that in giving examples?
Great. Well, so there's a number of different opportunities, and I sent to you, and I can resend it if you like. We've been sending you so much stuff. It's just bombarding you with information. There is a document called Options for Outreach. And that explains sort of in detail all the different ways and opportunities. If you have a lot of time, fabulous. And you're part of a member of a service club or a PTA, or people, fabulous. And you want to give them a call and say, listen, I'd love to come and talk to you. Or if you're not the talking type, you can say, grab somebody who is a pharmacist or a doctor or somebody who's a trusted source in your community. Set it up, go talk to the service club or talk to the PTA. Here in New Mexico, we've been fortunate. I contacted the president of the PTA of New Mexico PTA. She is sending out the link for the full documentary to every PTA in the state. Then she's also offering up, which I love doing, if a PTA wants to show the 30-minute version, that 30-minute version is really in case people only have an hour. Like here, we have an hour. So we wanted to talk a little bit more and discuss. So that 30-minute version cuts out all the, I say all the heartfelt stories, but it is a lot of the heartfelt stories and just hones it down to technical information for 30 minutes. And then, so you can introduce it, you can play the 30 minutes, and then you can come back and answer questions afterwards with your own trusted sources and people. If those, we designed the short versions, those 30-second to 3.5 minute, 4-minute pieces, because when we, in 2017 and 2018, we talked to pharmacists, we talked to a lot of pediatricians, we talked to a lot of family physicians who said, you know, there's hesitancy and I only have 15 minutes with a client. And so they come in and I diagnose them and stuff. And then I say, you know, would you like to get this? And they say, no. And I say, well, why are you hesitant? And they say, I'm hesitant because I think the mRNA thing was developed overnight. And I don't know what's in it. And then they've got like 2 minutes left to try to explain the mRNA vaccine. So this gives people an opportunity to say, you know, I hear what you're saying. In fact, it's been in development for over 2 decades. It's not warp speed. And I'm going to send you a little link of a 2-minute piece on mRNA so you can see how it was developed. And then they can send that to them. So that's why we sort of cut into those little teeny pieces. Same for pharmacists. You know, if you, I know a lot of you send out short, you know, I get them from my pharmacist, you know, it's time for your flu shot, Chris. Well, then they can link to, there's 2 or 3 pieces we have from the documentary on flu misinformation, which may be good in that instance, depending on what you're sending out. And then some pharmacies have, of course, the TVs up in their waiting rooms, and that's fabulous if you want to show the 30-minute or the long one, or little teeny pieces that would be specific to your community. If you're in a community of color, there's 2 or 3 different ones for African Americans. There's 2 or 3 different ones for Native Americans. There's 2 or 3 different ones for Latinx or Latino or Hispanic communities as well. Does that help, Susie?
Yes. Paul, did that help with
Yeah,
what you?
that's fine. Well, I think that if we could provide some to get them going, that would be useful. So we do need some PR to make that happen. And probably I would suggest at least a weekly blast on a given short topic would be fine for members to use, and to say, and don't forget your website. If you have TV in your pharmacy, to use that, and then outreach service club wise.
Yeah,
all of those are good. Yeah.
And I think that Andy has set up a website with a lot of that on there, and we just need to publicize that and push people in that direction with a little more information about how to use what's there.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Chris.
And Susie, I'm going to send you right now the link to our options for outreach.
Okay.
That you may find beneficial. And then the other thing I'll say, and I will send this to you as well, if you want to, some people are being very aggressive in screening this in their communities. Thankfully, the great news is we've been picked up by almost a dozen PBS stations across the country now, which is fabulous. And also I think we're signed up now for close to a dozen live screenings in communities. I got one the other day, which was fabulous. That was from the Bronx of all places, and it was a health leader in a nonprofit in the Bronx, not a pharmacy. It was just a nonprofit that deals with health issues in their community. And she said, how can I go ahead and screen your film? I want to set up a little screening on top of a rooftop in the Bronx and invite the community in to bring, you know, their food and beverage and relax. And said, fabulous. Let me send you the link. This is great. So she's setting up a sort of a bigger screening thing. You can absolutely do that, or something in faith community. If you have a Bible study group and you say, you know, we're talking a lot about this. It's the big thing all around the world. Let me show you a 1 hour or a 30-minute documentary about this that is chock full of information that we can discuss. And we've been very careful not to go right or left. We've been very careful to make sure we cut out anything related to Republican or Democrat, not to have anybody ridicule anyone else. Hopefully it's very straightforward and right down the middle.
Any other questions anybody has?
Terry, I will check that. Thank you very much, Terry. We triple checked everything. And I think we're okay, but I'm going to double check that. There's always, Terry found a misspelling. You win the big prize. We have 5 people checking every spelling throughout the process. And then at the end, we bring in 10 people to go through it. And it's so funny. There's always one misspelling. I'm going to double check and see if we got it. Thank you, Terry. You all have to re-watch it now to see if you can find the misspelling.
There you go.
Chris?
Yeah.
Listen, would you please keep us abreast of the local PBS stations that are going to show it? That way we might be able to match any kind of memberships we have in that area and try to help give it some attention and boost the showing of it through our members.
Yes, I will do my best. What happens with that, and I'm going to send that out to the underwriters here shortly. PBS, it's up on the PBS site now, so any station can download it. And what happens is they're going to be downloading it for the next 6 months. And so many times we won't get that information until after it's actually broadcast. But when we can have it in advance, we sure will. And you bring up a wonderful point, Andy, and I'm going to send this to Susie right now. And that is, you can request your local PBS station to broadcast the program. And in fact, that's very effective. Some friends of ours in South Carolina called, and they had 2 or 3 people call into their local PBS station and say, hey, we've heard about this documentary, will you take a look? And I just sent out a 1-sheet, and Susie, if you can send this out to the group as well, that'd be great. And all you have to do is look up your PBS number, call them, say who's the content director or who's in charge of deciding what gets broadcast, essentially. It's different names for different markets. And then you can send them that 1-sheet, and they then have all the information to look at it, see it, evaluate it. And in South Carolina, based on 2 or 3 phone calls, 4 different PBS stations in South Carolina are broadcasting. Very quick and very easy. But I appreciate that. Good thoughts, Andy.
Any other questions? Well, if not, Chris, thank you very much for being here, and thanks for all your work on this documentary. I've been looking in the chats. Everybody seems to be very, very pleased, very impressed, and ready to take off with showing. And I want to thank all of you that attended today. We appreciate your interest in this, and we hope that you will get involved in using the resources that are available, contacting our office if you have any questions or anything that you missed or might have an interest in. And with that, I think we're just about at our hour, and I didn't want to take up a lot of your time today. So thank you all very much for your attendance. And again, Chris, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Susie. And anybody wants to contact me, Susie's got all the information.
Yes,
I'm glad
I
to, about anything, please do.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Uh-huh.